lot of times we have medical professionals on our show to talk about certain issues and conditions. But sometimes the stories really hit home when you hear from everyday people. Meghan Rothschild, president of Chick Media, usually talks about marketing and entrepreneurship on our show. Yet today we're going to talk about summer skincare and safety. Hi, Meghan.
Hey, how are you, Patrick?
I'm excellent. Just to begin, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so I am actually a stage 2 melanoma survivor, melanoma being the deadliest form of skin cancer. I was diagnosed during my sophomore year of college, actually, and since then have really become an advocate for awareness. I've worked for a variety of national nonprofits and regional nonprofits to spread awareness about this disease. So that's why I'm here today, just encouraging people to pay attention to our skin.
As much as we love being outdoors, you're absolutely right. Pay attention to our skin. So tell me, what have you learned from that? Why is skin safety so important?
You know, I think that it is there's a big misconception that skin cancer is just a really easy cancer. It just involves cutting something out on your skin and moving on. And that's really not the case. You know, we know that melanoma is a deadly form of skin cancer. We know that squamous cell is a deadly form of skin cancer. So in my opinion, it's a very important topic to discuss, not only because there's a lack of general awareness, but because this is actually preventable in most cases with some simple behavior modifications.
Now, Meghan, you talked about being diagnosed as a sophomore in college. What were the warning signs? How did you know to seek treatment?
Yeah, so I had a spot on my stomach that had started to itch, and it was really, really dark, like jet black. And I noticed myself just sort of itching that area on my skin, and I finally brought it to the attention of my doctor, and she actually told me it looked okay and that no further action was needed. But for whatever reason, at the age of 19, I was like, I'm not leaving your office until we have this removed. So she sent me to have it removed, and that's when it came back as stage 2 melanoma. So it's really all about changes on your skin, watching spots, evolution, if there's, changes in size, color, if anything on your skin is bigger than a diameter, or a pencil eraser, basically diameter. It's really about just keeping track of your skin and what changes are happening.
So keeping track of your skin is something you said a lot of right there. But how do we protect ourselves? How do we protect our skin?
Yeah, so I have a couple of things here that I wanted to share with you folks, because I think that, like you said, protection, it's really key. So first and foremost, wearing an SPF of 30 or above and reapplying every 2 hours, that's really the key. And a lot of people don't realize that you have to reapply sunscreen when you put it on in the morning. But also protecting things like your scalp. So wearing a broad brim hat to cover the face and also cover the part in the hair and the scalp area. And then, of course, also protecting our eyes is important as well, because you can actually get melanoma in your eye as well.
You know, it's interesting. In front of you, you've got a larger flat brim hat. I know I'm a guy. Most times, or almost all times when I have a hat on, it's like a baseball cap style. So it leaves my ears exposed. But that's one of the places that it's mostly going to get skin cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the scalp melanomas are actually particularly more deadly because they're harder to find, because, they're usually happening under a head of hair. So we're not able to track changes easily. But honestly, if all you want to wear is a baseball hat, that's okay too, because at least you're getting that scalp protection and it's covering your face. Just don't forget to put sunscreen on the top of your ears.
Let's talk about sunscreen a little bit. You said SPF 30 or greater. So if I use SPF 60, is that double SPF 30?
No, so it's a very mathematical, scientific equation, how they come up with those numbers, but it has to do with the amount of time it would take you in the sun to burn while wearing that SPF. So what's key is, again, the reapplication every 2 hours, also making sure you're putting enough on in the first place. I see a lot of people using spray sunscreens, and they sort of spray it on their body and they don't rub it in. We have to remember to rub it in, and we have to remember to, again, reapply after we go in the water. If we're doing some sort of athletic activity and we're sweating a lot, you even want to be reapplying even more than every 2 hours.
Meghan, just going back to your own personal story, when you were younger, were you out in the sun a lot? I mean, I know growing up, for me, it was burn, peel, repeat all summer long. And now as an adult, I realized that wasn't the right thing. But were you growing up the same way?
Absolutely. I spent my summers on Cape Cod with my family, and I did the same thing. It was burn, peel, and then repeat. But I was also a tanning bed user. I used indoor tanning salons as well on a regular basis. And we know that any exposure to UV light before the age of 18 is going to dramatically increase someone's risk of skin cancer. So it's not only about protecting ourselves as adults, but making sure that our kids, our nieces, our nephews, whoever, are getting protected as well early on.
Fantastic advice, Meghan Rothschild. Thank you so much for joining and sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.